I want to talk to you a little bit today about bonding with your baby. Do you know that when we're pregnant and we're imagining life with a newborn baby, or we're trying to conceive and imagining life as a parent, we imagine a strong bond, this beautiful time together with our baby, and this connection, this attachment. And that does come naturally sometimes, but it's very common for it not to come naturally. And I'm not sure we talk about this enough. So I want to talk today about bonding, what it is, when it can go wrong and how to make that attachment, that bond with your baby stronger. This is a great video if you're still expecting your baby, you're still pregnant, or you have a newborn. So first of all though, who am I? Do you know me yet? I'm Roya. I've helped hundreds of families like yours over the last 8 years to focus on communication with their babies. You can create a strong bond with your baby from within the womb. You can understand your baby's needs and wants and parent with confidence. Your child will grow up multilingual. I love to help with that because we have 4 languages in our family too. And your baby can feel at home in all your cultures. They can grow up close to your family members who live abroad and enjoy the opportunities of your international lifestyle. I created the Infant Communication Baby Sign Language course, and this really is a game changer when it comes to parenting. So stick around to the end and I'll tell you how you can find out more about the course. Okay, so a bond with your baby. What is this bond that we're talking about? Well, it's a strong attachment to your child. This feeling that they belong to you and you belong to them, and that they're very, very precious. And it motivates us to care for our baby and to protect them. And it's what makes you jump out of bed when you hear them crying and run to them. It's what motivates you and gives you the energy to keep going and taking care of your baby even when you are exhausted, which you will be as a new parent. Nothing but honest over here. But it doesn't always come naturally, unfortunately, and that can be very disappointing for some new parents. They feel that there's this person, there's this baby, and they don't know what to do with the baby, and it's overwhelming. And it's scary, and that makes parenting then very, very difficult. So it's really important that new parents, or expecting parents, even better when you're pregnant, get educated. Educate yourself. And I love to create resources for expecting parents and new parents to help them have an easier transition to becoming a family with a baby, because it's really a big change in your life. And I think we are very good at preparing for the birth. You know, I did an antenatal course before having my first baby. And yeah, we prepared very well for the birth, but we were not prepared for what came after. I didn't even know how to change a diaper. Like the first time I put a diaper on my son, it was the wrong way around. I put it on backwards. So yeah, we can take the time, invest some time and energy and money in educating ourselves before the baby arrives. This will make things much easier and much smoother, and the transition will go better, and perhaps the bond will come more naturally and stronger because you are focusing on that. I'm gonna sip my tea while it's hot. It's so good. So why could it sometimes be difficult though? I said before, it doesn't come naturally, and actually some circumstances can block the bond being formed. For example, it's especially difficult to form a bond with your new baby if there has been, for example, a traumatic birth. If there is birth trauma, that makes it harder. Perhaps it's not always the case. Everybody's individual with having their baby. So there will be, of course, mums who have experienced trauma that are able to bond really by themselves naturally. And there are other mums and dads that find that the trauma they are so overwhelmed and dealing with the trauma that also caring for the newborn, it's more than they can manage. And that can be a block to forming this close bond. And this can also be true, so it can also be true for situations where perhaps your baby, when the birth is over, your baby, it's really nice many times. It's not just nice, it's important for you and the baby to do skin to skin immediately after the birth. Where I gave birth in the Netherlands, they encouraged new parents to have the baby, especially the mom, for the first hour, skin to skin, bare skin, for that first precious hour. But there are some circumstances where that's not possible. So maybe after an emergency cesarean, for example, or if there are some health issues for the mother or the baby, that they are not able to stay together skin to skin. Or it could be that your new baby was adopted. In that case, you might not have been there at the birth and had that opportunity. Your baby might be slightly older. And of course, if that is the case, that maybe mama has a health problem after the birth, then papa, dad, can take over the skin to skin. But sometimes it's the baby. For example, if the baby's born premature, then they are not able to perhaps go straight to the parent, but they need to be in an incubator or have some other assistance that takes them away from their parents. So these things make it difficult. There could also be some postpartum depression, and that again is very overwhelming and stressful and scary, and there are intrusive thoughts that are eroding the confidence of the new parent, of the new mum perhaps. And all of those things then are where the focus goes. And that makes it really hard to bond with your baby. And for many of these circumstances, that's not your fault. Those things happened, and that's not your fault. So please, when I'm talking about these things, don't feel guilt. Don't have any guilt over this. This is common, and it's something that we just need to know doesn't always come naturally. We just need to know that. And then with some education, you can find out how to maximize and get that strong bond that you want. So we've talked about what a bond is, why it doesn't come naturally in some cases. And it might not even be that there was any trauma or anything. It just might not happen the way you expect. And that also is okay. It's just what it is. And we need to find a way to promote the bonding. And that's what I'd like to talk about next. So what are some ways that you can promote a stronger bond with your baby? Well, I talked about skin to skin. So immediately after the birth, if that is possible, for the first hour is so precious, have the baby on your skin. Mama, that's great. Or if mum is not available, dad can do that. Sleep in the same room. And also, when you come home, sleep in the same room, and you can do again the skin to skin. At any time during the first weeks, that's so precious for you and your baby. They feel the warmth from you. They smell you. They are listening to if they're on your chest, they can hear your heart beating. Those are familiar sounds. That's a familiar sound from when they were inside the womb. All those things are really comforting for a baby. It makes them feel safe. And for mama, for you, it helps you to get used to this little person, how they feel, how they smell, how they react to things. Keep them close to you. And that can help the bonding begin. It's all about getting to know your baby. So, babies are spectacular. I'm overwhelmed and in awe when I think about babies. Sometimes we hear people say, like, how's your baby? Yeah, they cry, they poo, they sleep. That's it. Nothing interesting, really. But I believe that we have so much to learn from our babies. Do you know that they are born communicating with you? So from birth, there are some signals, some body language and expressions that your baby gives that helps you understand when they're tired, when they're hungry, and when they need to pee and poop. Already from birth, they are telling you all those things. And you can learn those signals, and most babies do them. And your baby might have a slightly different way of expressing those needs because they're an individual person, and you need to get to know this new little person. By the way, I have a newborn pack that will teach you the signals to look out for a hungry baby, a tired baby, or a baby that needs to pee and poop. And that means that you can learn those signals and that you'll be able to respond to those needs before your baby starts crying. And you know what? Having less crying, that's less stress for you and your baby, and that will promote bonding. So if you're interested in the newborn pack, please send me a message, write a comment, get in touch, okay? And I will tell you how to get it. And actually, you get it free when you enroll for the Infant Communication Baby Sign Language course. It's included. All right. So, yeah. Also, another lovely thing that you can do that helps with bonding is learn about baby massage. Oh, it's so lovely to see babies after massage, so relaxed with their hands wide open, and they sleep really well after a massage. But also when you're massaging a baby, you're looking at them, they're looking at you, and your focus is on them, and they feel that. And you see how they react to your touch and how they relax when you massage them. And all of this, you're building these connections, you're building this strong attachment with your baby. So it's really worth learning some massage techniques. Somewhere on my channel, you will find a video for the I Love You massage, which is really beautiful. It's a really easy one with just 3 steps to start with. And it's really, really good for babies who have like belly cramps, or they're struggling with wind, or finding it difficult to poo. So if that is your experience with your baby, go look for that video after this one. Okay. And you know, actually all of these things are things that dads can do equally as well as mums. All right. Sometimes dads are a bit like, okay, I can't do the breastfeeding. What do I do? Well, dads, you can do a lot of things. Okay, breastfeeding, maybe not, but there are lots of other things that you can do for taking care of your baby. So both of you, dad and mum, can, I forgot to mention, even before your baby is born, you can start with this process. Okay, when your baby is kicking, respond to that. Put your hands on the belly. You know that your baby, research has shown that your baby can tell who is touching. Oh, it's amazing. So they can tell when it's mum touching and rubbing the belly and interacting with them, and they can tell when it's dad, and they can tell when it's somebody else. Also, they can hear your voices. They're already getting to know your voices before they're born. So talking and singing are great things to do. I know it's a bit odd to talk to your belly. Like I found that a bit weird actually. Hey baby in my belly, like I'm talking to my stomach. It's kind of strange, but you know, they're going to hear your voice when you're talking to each other, to your partner or to your friends, or let them imagine that they are listening to your voice. Whenever you are talking, you don't have to be talking at your stomach. Okay, but think about how that there's that interaction happening. Whenever you talk, they hear the tone of your voice. They're hearing it through water, and they can hear your heart beating, swooshing, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. So your voice they were not hearing clearly the words, but they're hearing the tone of your voice, they're hearing your heart beating, swooshing. All of these things, it's an interaction, whether you are conscious of it or not. Another interesting point about research is that they did an experiment between babies in a French-speaking environment and in a German-speaking environment, and they found out that newborn babies cry in the tone of the language that they've been exposed to the most, which is fantastic. So babies with a French-speaking mother or from a French-speaking place, they cry in a French tone, which is different to a German one. So babies cry in their own language. How cool is that? It's really interesting to know. One of my interests is multilingualism, so that blew me away. So what other things can you do? Oh, so many things you could do to bond with your baby. Okay. Also, another thing before the baby arrives, mum, you have to go to the prenatal visits, but dad, make an effort to go too. Be there, because you will hear your baby's heartbeat. They will play it so you can hear it. You will get to see the pictures during the ultrasounds, and you will understand what's happening. You can ask questions and you can get to know a lot about your baby already before they arrive. When your babies arrive, then for both of you, but also especially perhaps for dads, be hands-on. Learn how to change the nappies, the diapers. Learn how to bath your baby. I have to admit that I did not like bathing my newborn baby. I did not enjoy that at all. I found it really stressful. They're small and slippery. And in the water, I didn't like it. But my husband loved bathing the baby. So that was his thing. He was in charge of bathing the babies. So find out, between you, which things you love to do and which things you find stressful, and then see if you can, play to your strengths, because then you will have more joy in the parenting. If you think, I really enjoy doing that, but I don't like that, hopefully it's the opposite for your partner. Not always. But talk about these things. Find out how you can divide the care tasks that will suit your personalities and what you enjoy. Now remember, you will not enjoy 100% of parenting. Parenting is hard. It's hard, and that's normal, and that's okay. Okay? Bonding doesn't mean that you will love every single second of being a parent. That's not what bonding is. So if you feel that you enjoy your baby when they're relaxed and quiet and sleeping, but when they're awake you find it stressful, that doesn't mean you haven't bonded with your baby. It doesn't. A bond, we have to be realistic in our expectations. So you will find that your baby will cry a lot and you won't know why. Although I can teach you how to avoid some of that crying. So again, watch other videos. I think I have one, 3 ways of how to approach crying was a recent one. And I talked about how to reduce crying, how to find out why your baby's crying, and then how to get comfortable with it, because they are going to cry. What else can I tell you about? Caring for your baby, keeping them clean. Pottying your baby is a lovely way to bond with them. So find out maybe about elimination communication a little bit, because then you get to really understand intimately their needs when they need to pee and when they need to poo. And you can help them to do that in a more comfortable way on a potty. They don't have to do those things in a diaper, and you don't have to clean smushed poo off their bottoms. You don't have to. And there are other ways of doing things. So that might be something new for you. Also on my channel, you will find a video about that. So keep exploring, keep educating yourself. It's really important. Baby wearing is the last thing on my list. Oh, so nice. My son used to love to be in the baby sling, and he would sleep there, nap there. And when he was getting big, we used to carry him on our back as well. And he would just sleep there really well. And he didn't sleep that well in his bed, actually. So that was a great way for us to have a quiet, happy baby by just wearing him. And he, again, is there and smelling at us and hearing our heartbeats and all those things that calm him and make him feel safe. And we have the satisfaction as a parent that our baby feels safe. Of course, it depends if you are strong enough to carry your baby, if your back is good enough to carry your baby on your back. I mean, there are some constraints with that. So don't feel guilty if you can't, but if you can, baby wearing is a really nice way to bond with your baby. Some babies don't like it though. I have to admit that my second baby, my daughter, she didn't like being in the wrap, and she used to wiggle and want to get out of it. So I don't know, it depends on you and your baby. But this is you getting to know your baby, because your baby is a really interesting person from birth. They're so interesting. I learned so much from my children, and I'm sure you will too, if you stop and look for what you can learn about them. Okay, so I think that is my whole list, Yeah. Now, after a few months of having a baby, if you are still feeling like, I'm not bonded with this child, who is this baby in my house, and I'm finding it really hard to look after them, then please seek support from your pediatrician. Might be a good place to mention it first, because there could be something going on, some health issue or a psychological issue that you might not be aware of. And again, it might not be your fault, but you need to ask for help. Just reach out and explain. And again, I want to tell you, this is really common. Not everybody bonds in the way that we imagine we will bond with our baby, like in the movies. It's a learned thing a little bit. You're learning how to have this new balance in your life, and you and your baby have to learn to work as a team. You and your partner have to learn to work as a team on the same page, because you might have very different ideas of what parenting is. So there are a lot of overwhelming adjustments to be made, and that's really normal, and it is really hard. I will say it again, parenting is hard. So just be aware of it, and then when you find it really, really hard, it won't be a shock, okay? And if the bonding doesn't happen immediately the way you expect, it won't be a shock. It could be that your baby is born and you immediately feel just like, oh, I'm so in love with this baby. But it's not always like that. I think with my son, it was a little bit overwhelming because we had to learn so many things. He was our first baby. But I remember with my second baby, my daughter, for me, I felt like she was like, it was just a love story. It's the only way I could describe it. She was just, from the first moment, it was a love story. And so, it will also be different when you have your next baby. The bonding process will be different because that's a different person that you're getting to know. Lovely. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for joining me. And I promised some information about the Infant Communication Baby Sign Language course. So to find out more about that, you can download your free guide to getting started with baby sign language. The link will come up on the screen. You go to babysignlanguagecourse.com, and then you will also receive an invitation to enroll on the course. And all our babies sign. It's just amazing. And signing is using gestures to communicate needs and wants. It's just great. Please also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, ding, so that you know when new videos come up. Usually I create them on Fridays and upload them on Mondays. That's sort of my rhythm. So yeah, look forward to seeing you around here more. Thank you. Bye.